It ain't the left side or the right side, then it must be the fin side. Inside. It ain't the left side or the right side.
Thank you, Solo D. Welcome to another episode of On the Fin Side here with Kat and Paul Picken. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Spreaker, iTunes, YouTube, and on iHeartRadio. We are recapping the Dolphins' third-round pick, 73rd overall, linebacker Jerome Baker out of Ohio State. 6'1", 229 pounds, ran a 4.53 40 time, played at the big level Ohio State, and it really improves the speed in the middle of the defense, really piggybacking on what the Dolphins did yesterday with Minkah Fitzpatrick. You've got Minkah Fitzpatrick in the first round and Jerome Baker in the third round for the Dolphins at that safety and that linebacker spot. So, an interesting pick here, Paul, because the Dolphins really had trouble covering anybody at tight end, running back, wide receiver. The middle of the field was all wide open, and I think that goes into why the Dolphins took a look here at Jerome Baker in the third round.
I agree, and one thing I will say is I know he ran the 4.5 4.40, but he definitely seems to play one hell of a lot faster than that out of the field. I mean, he can cover, he can go sideline to sideline, and he's pretty damn good if you send him after the quarterback. So there's a lot to like with this kid. He's not the strongest guy on the field, so you get a big bruising running back. I'm not so sure that he's going to win that matchup. But as far as being able to cover, as far as adding speed to the defense, as far as being able to blitz, which is something that Miami struggled with at times in recent years, Miami's defense got a whole lot faster. The interesting thing with this could be if T.J. McDonald's coming up in the box because of the Minkah Fitzpatrick pick, if you've got Baker out there, if you've got Rake McMillan, there might be an odd man out when you have three linebackers on the field or even when you have two linebackers on the field. And he's kind of a high-profile, high-paid player that we tended to have issues with last season. So it'll be very interesting to see if Kiko Alonso makes it through day 3 after this pick.
Yeah, I really wanted to see Fred Warner fall to the 72 pick here. Or to pick number 73 when they took Jerome Baker. But, I expect Dolphins fans to see a better version of Jelani Jenkins. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Jerome Baker can cover very well. He looks like a big safety playing that linebacker spot. And I've always said, too, that when it comes to the linebacker spot, I don't really care all that much about run defense. I want to see plays, big plays on defense, as well as speed in the middle of the field. And Jerome Baker does cover that. Taking a look at his stat sheet here over the last couple of years, 17.5 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble. So he hasn't made a whole heck of a lot of big plays, but he has also covered a lot of field there for Ohio State. So it looks like a very big niche type of player for the Dolphins.
Yeah, and I think the fact that he played alongside Rake McMillan, the two of them coming out this season, really their first in the NFL, even though Rake will be a second-year player, they're going to be out there already able to communicate well with each other. They've got that familiarity from playing a few years together. And that could help the growth of both of them very quickly. I mean, they've got two young, fast, sideline-to-sideline linebackers and bringing TJ up in the box. I mean, this pick could go very well for the Dolphins if he is used appropriately, which is always the big key.
You bet. So what would you grade this pick?
I'm sitting in that B-plus range. I mean, they knocked off their needs early. Now a lot of the needs that they have left are depth, so they really can go BPA with an eye towards the positions they want. And they added team speed. So, yeah, it's a pretty easy B-plus for me, even though I know he's not one of those big-name guys that some people were looking for.
I'm going to go with a C+. Baker is a player that I probably would have won it for the Dolphins with one of their fourth-round picks, maybe even a little bit later. But he does have speed. He did play at a high level of competition. I just worry if he's going to be able to be on the field as a down-to-down weak side linebacker, and that's what you have to be if you're going to be a third-round linebacker. So we will see what happens here for the Miami Dolphins and for Jerome Baker. You can follow Paul and I on Facebook, Twitter, Spreaker, iTunes, YouTube, and on iHeartRadio. You're listening to us on the Fin Side. We're recapping the pick of Dolphins' third-round pick, Jerome Baker, the linebacker out of Ohio State. And if it's not on the right side and it's not on the left side, it is on the Fin Side. So, Ladie, take us home.
It ain't the left side